How would you prepare equipment and facilities for activity sessions?
So before you're about to start for a session, you'd make sure you've got your own checklist. So make sure you've got the correct amount of footballs, bibs, cones, first aid bag, football pump just in case. Then when you actually get to the session, you can start setting up your own pitch, your layout for the actual design what you've planned.
Okay, how would you plan activity sessions?
Well, you'd do a session plan, so you can do like fun games with the actual kids, make them enjoy it. First of all, you would know where the venue is. You'd do a equipment checklist, get the medical history, your risk assessment, and if there's anything more, you need to do a contingency plan in case the weather's bad or any other issues might be bad for that.
Okay. Principles of how to lead activity sessions.
So for like the lead session.
Yeah. So how
So
would you lead a
basically, is you're in control of that, all of that session. You'd register in the kids so you know they're all there. You'd do a risk assessment again for the whole area. So if there's any trouble, you would be the first one to deal with it. You'd stamp on it straight away.
Okay. Next up is how do you prepare participants for activity sessions?
Well, to start off with, you'd be telling them what you'll be doing, telling them what the session's about. Start off with, when you're inside with the kids, you can ask them to bring out a water bottle. If it's sunny, bring out a sun hat, sun cream, so that it protects them as well as others. So if they have water, they can take it so they don't get dehydrated from the sun. You tell them about the coaching points, show them any drills if necessary.
Okay, how would you introduce the participants to activities? How would you introduce the participants to activities? So how would you explain the activities?
Well, for easier for kids, as you're talking about it, they don't really understand what the actual session's about. So you could go into like demonstrations so they can learn more. You can put in some fun games as well as learning. Because all kids want to do is just have fun whilst learning.
So how affect like working relationships during activity sessions? Like what does it require? So what legal requirements do you have? And what types of behaviour do you expect?
Well, the behaviour standards, it needs to be high. If there's any messing about, you need to stamp on it straight away. You need to tell them kids, but you're the boss. You're there for their learning and not just for them messing about. You're not babysitting them. You need to be firm. If they keep on repeating being messing about, just sit them out. Or if you've got an extra member of staff with you, you can send them to one side with that staff.
Thank you. Next one is how do you review an activity session with participants? So how do you, at the end of the session, what would you do with the participants and how would you review it?
Start off with, you can sit them all down. They can go get a drink, obviously, to catch the breath. You do a debrief on what the lesson's about, what have they learned, how would you put that skill into practice into a game. So if you're doing a defending activity, how would you then proceed that into a game mode? So you would try and stop the other team from scoring, blocking their shots, anything like that.
Okay, so how would, at the end of, in your debrief, what would you explain to them?
You explain about the benefits of why we've just done that drill. So it's helping them develop as their own footballer or any other sport which is more required, stuff like that. Okay,
would you explain anything else about what else is, what like that as a session as a whole? Would you refer back to anything?
Yeah, like I say again, you can ask them about why do we do that, and just again they can progress on to that as an individual.
Okay, how do you deal with like equipment, clothing and facilities following activity sessions?
So is that at the end of the session?
Yeah, at the end of the
session. At the end of the session, you can do a equipment checklist again. If you've got the correct amount of footballs there, the bibs, cones, if anything's damaged, you can make a note and report it so you can get more, brand new equipment ready for that next lesson, so you're not going short.
Good, thank you. How do you bring activity sessions to an end? So say we're 10 minutes from the end, what would you start to do?
I'd start to do a cool down with the participants. so they don't stop cramping, that any other injuries will be required.
Thank you. How do you promote health and safety and welfare in our sessions?
Well, you can start off by telling them the rules. So they've got to make sure, if they're on 3G, for example, you don't want kids to be wearing metal studs, so if they're going in for a high foot, it's going to hurt another kid if they caught him in the right area. Also, no bullying on the session and stuff like that.
What requirements do we have as coaches for health and safety?
Well, we're there to protect the kids, make sure the area, what you're using, there's no glass, any rubbish. If the kids fell on some glass, obviously it's going to cut them, it can go into the skin, which will hurt, then they'll need medical treatment.
At Nottingham Forest in the community, who would be in charge of the health and safety?
It would be Callum Osborne or Sean England for the health and
safety. Alright. So safeguarding and protecting children and vulnerable adults. Describe what is meant by safeguarding.
So basically, if at home, if they're having any issues with their parents or any other people and they're upset in that session, they can come to you and tell you if they would like to, then you can report it, you can make sure that they're okay. If any other issues pop up, you can refer to the police if there's any stuff like that.
What types of abuse would you look out for?
Neglect, any bruising on the body. If you've had that kid for one session and he's been active, 100%, doing 100%, and he's there at the next session and he's down, you can see he's upset, he's not enjoying it as much. You can ask him if anything's okay, and if there's any trouble kicking off at home.
Okay. So diversity and equality then. So what are Nottingham Forest and the community's policies on diversity and equality, and what kind of things do we offer?
It's like racism. Obviously, we try and kick out racism out of football or any sport. It's not nice. You get in a lot of trouble. Equality is where you want to be treated as an equal from the whole. There's no bullying. If there's any name calling and stuff like that, you deal with it straight away. You go report it to one of your main managers, and you can deal with it like that.
Right, thank you. So how do we give customers positive impressions of ourselves and the organisation itself?
Well, when we're on a session, if there's parents watching, you want to be on top of your guard. You want to be a role model for the kids. You want to be uniform. Obviously, uniform's there, so you want to be wearing the correct clothing. So you want to wear the tracksuit. Make sure you're encouraging the kids, giving them confidence.
Yeah, that's fine. How do we store equipment following use?
How do we store? Well, when we are finished with the equipment, we can put it in our garage or